Today we are going to talk about planetary war in Vedic astrology. So keep watching. Namaste and welcome to Pramanik astrology channel. I'm your host Prasad Mahazani, help you raise your vibrations and become your true self with the help of Vedic astrology. Today we are going to talk about an important concept in Vedic astrology which is known as the planetary wars. Before we jump into the planetary wars, we should know what is horizon, we should know what is ecliptic path, we should know what is prime vertical. Then only it will start making sense to you. And if you don't know these concepts, go watch my local space video. Okay, and then come back and watch this video. You will enjoy this video even more. So let's get started with the planetary wars. Planetary wars is when two or more planets are in close conjunction with each other. When these planets are in less than 2 degrees of conjunction, they are said to be in a planetary war. But these 2 degrees or these close conjunctions up to 4 degrees are of the not of the zodiacal degrees but of the vertical, the prime vertical degrees. This is very important because in zodiacal degrees they may be in a conjunction, but with context to the prime vertical they may be far apart from each other. The next thing is the planetary war is local. Planetary war is not universal. When you are looking at two planets in close conjunction from your local space, suppose you are watching two planets closely conjunct in the sky from India, that won't be the same if you are watching those two planets in the USA or Australia. Planetary war is a local phenomenon. So this is a very important thing you have to look for. And here is a disclaimer for this. This is a very tedious calculation. Okay, nowadays we have softwares, so we go with the software calculations. But when there was no software, it was the toughest thing to calculate. Don't just jump onto the zodiacal degrees when calculating the planetary wars. Okay, so what is the requirement for the war? The war can happen in two or more planets which are on the same plane. Okay, so planetary wars happen only between Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus and Jupiter. Why these two planets are not into the planetary wars? Why these are not considered into planetary wars? The reason behind this is Moon is revolving around this Earth, and Earth is revolving around the Sun. So what is happening with this is Moon is on the other plane, so he can't be with war. He can't be with war with the other planets because it is in the other battlefield. Is not on the same battlefield as the other planes or the other planets, so they can't be at the war. For being at the war, you have to be in the same battleground, right? You have to be in front of each other at the same plane, then only you can have a war. So Moon and Sun are not in the planetary war. Planetary war can only be the planetary war can only be between the rest of the 5 planets, that is Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter and Venus. This is the first point. The second point is who will win the war. Planet which is northest will win the war. The planet who is brightest will win the war. So how do we calculate which planet is the northest? The planet with the less degrees is at the is in the north of the ecliptic path. The planet which is more north will win the war. The planet which is more south will lose the war. Why is it so? I don't know, but north is considered to be auspicious. So as per the Parashara, planet which is northest will win the war. But Surya Siddhanta has a different take on this. Surya Siddhanta considers the degrees of the planet, the level of the brightness of the planet. We are talking about the brightness in a descending order, not or in an ascending order. First we have Saturn. Saturn is the very dull planet. It is not the brightest planet. Then we have the Mars, which is a little bit brighter than the Saturn. Then we have Mercury, which is a little bit brighter than the Saturn and Mars. Then we have Jupiter, which is brighter than the rest of the three, that is Saturn, Mars and Mercury. Then the brightest of all the planets is the Venus. So Venus will always win the planetary war because it is the brightest. Okay. The next thing is, how do the planetary war affect in your horoscope? There are two planets in the planetary war. Let's say we have Mercury and Venus in a planetary war. So these planets hold two signs. The planet which will lose the war will have less power to give what it represents and what it indicates in the horoscope through lordships. Suppose we have Venus and Mercury in a planetary war, and Venus is winning the planetary war by being the brightest and by being on the northeast as compared to the Mercury. So Venus is winning the war and Mercury is losing the war. So the two signs ruled by Mercury will have impact. Mercury won't be able to give results for the two signs wherever you have Gemini and Virgo in your horoscope, as well as the Karaka, which Mercury is for your speech, your trades, your business, your network, your friendships, all the things, your analytical skills, your communication skills, all these are represented by the Mercury. So now as Mercury is losing the war, it has less power to give what it represents in your horoscope. So this is the one thing. And how do we calculate which planet is losing and which planet is winning? Is by looking at the Shadbala. Shadbala is the six-folded strength of the planet, wherein we have the Yuddha Bala. If you see that Yuddha Bala, the planets which have the planets which are in a planetary war will have a different Yuddha Bala. In our case, we have planetary war between Mercury and Venus, and Mercury is losing that planetary war. So what astrologer will do is, he will calculate the Shadbala, and the difference of the rankings, not rankings, the difference of the points is added to the winner and is subtracted from the loser. So in our case, Mercury is losing the planetary war. Suppose it is losing it by say 100 points or say 88 points. So what we will do is, we will subtract those points from the Mercury. Why? Because it is losing the planetary war, and we will add those points to the Venus. Why? Because it is winning the war. We only observe these astronomically, planetary wars, and we don't calculate this for the Vargas. You will always see when the planets are in close conjunctions, maybe within a degree, they will be in a conjunction in all the Varga charts. Okay, but we are not going to calculate the planetary wars in the Varga charts. We are going to consider it, but we are not going to calculate it differently for each Varga. We will calculate it for the Rashi chart astronomically. We will see the effect. We will consider this into the Shadbala, but we are not going to consider this for all of the Varga charts. Here's the thing. You can go to your horoscope, check out the conjunctions and see which planet is having the less degrees, the planet with the less degrees, but don't consider the zodiacal degrees, consider it with the prime meridian or the longitude or the declination. There is one thing in the planetary details as declination. This will give you the idea of the position of that planet astronomically, and you can decide which planet is the northmost, which is the northmost planet in the conjunction, and he will win the war. Let's summarize what are the planetary wars. Planetary wars are when two or more planets are in close conjunctions, but not on the zodiacal. Okay, let's summarize what is planetary war. Planetary war, as the name suggests, is the Graha Yuddha, the war between the planets. And this happens when two or more planets are in close conjunction with each other. The two planets when are in close conjunction with each other, but not on the zodiacal degrees, but on the prime vertical degrees. They are said to be in the war. Only 5 planets can be in the war: Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter and Venus. Moon, Sun, Rahu, Ketu are not considered for the planetary wars. And this calculation is very, very difficult. If you go through the Surya Siddhanta, you will understand how difficult it is. So astrologers prefer the software, using software rather than doing it mathematically, manually. It is not possible in these days. The next thing is, who will win the war? The planet which is in the northeast will win the war. The planet which is the brightest will win the war. Venus will always win the war. And how do we decide it? For that you need to check the longitude of the planet, the degrees of the planet, and see what planets are the northmost. The next thing to look for is the planet which will lose the planetary war will have 2 impacts. First, it will not be able to produce what it signifies, what it is karaka for, and also it won't be able to give the results of the bhava lords or the houses it rules. And what we do is we calculate the Shadbala for both, and we add the same points, the difference to the winner, and will subtract the same points from the loser. So the winner will gain extra strength in Shadbala and the loser will be losing the strength in the Shadbala. And how much it will lose? It will be decided on the Shadbala strength. And then after considering this, we will set up the rank for the planet in the Shadbala. The next thing is the planetary war is local. Planetary war is not universal. When you are looking at 2 planets in close conjunction from your local space, planetary war is a local phenomenon, become even more important. Yes, this was planetary wars as much as I could hold, grasp and share with you guys. If you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you aren't already. And sending you high vibrations. See you in the next videos. Love and peace.